Hello everyone, and welcome to the show. Today is April 22nd, 2026, and it is a wonderful Wednesday. I am your host, Sandal, and I am so super excited to be here with you today. And today, I am introducing a trending article from the archive, and it is a really fascinating one. The title is Do Privacy Policies Match with the Logs? An empirical study of privacy disclosure in Android application logs. The curl is hats:/arxa.org/abs/2604.18550 It is long, but it is so totally worth it. Let me tell you all about it because it affects basically anyone who uses a smartphone. So you'll use tons of apps on our Android phones every single day, right? We chat with friends, play games, and use fitness trackers. Well, behind the scenes, these apps are constantly generating something called logs. Logs are basically like a diary for the app. They record what is happening, like errors, crashes, and how you are using the app. Developers absolutely need these logs to fix bugs and make the app run smoothly. But here's the big problem that this paper is trying to solve. These logs can accidentally capture super sensitive personal information. I mean things like your exact GPS location, your email address, your device identification number, and your IP address. Normally, if an app collects your personal data, they are supposed to tell you in their privacy policy. You know, that super long, boring text document that we all just blindly accept without reading. But the researchers wanted to know, do these actually tell you that they're collecting your data in their logs? And do the privacy policies match what the apps are actually doing in real life? To figure this out, the researchers did a massive study. They downloaded 1,000 different Android apps from the Google Play Store. They manually played around with each app for 15 minutes to generate real-life logs. And while they generated over 86 million lines of log entries, that is a whole lot of data to look through. Then, they looked at the privacy policies for these apps to see if they mentioned logging. The first thing they found is that while 88% of the apps actually have a privacy policy, only 28.5% explicitly mention logging practices. That means the vast majority of apps just completely ignore the fact that they are keeping a diary of your app usage. And I also found that popular apps with tons of downloads and reviews are slightly more likely to mention logging. But still, the numbers are pretty low. When the policies did mention logging, the researchers wanted to know how specific they were. Most of the time, the apps said they log system information or usage data for analytics and debugging. But about 27.7% of these statements were super vague. We would just say things like, we may collect some technical information, which tells the user absolutely nothing about what is actually being collected. Now, here is the really scary part, which is the third thing they looked at. They scanned all those millions of log lines to see if sensitive information was actually leaking. To do this, they compared their method with other older technologies. Normally, researchers just use a basic list of keywords to search for leaked data. But modern apps use all sorts of weird formats for data. So, the researchers in this study used a super cool combination of a basic keyword list and advanced AI, specifically a large language model like that5. All this helped them expand their search to find hidden and variable data patterns that normal rule-based systems would totally miss. Compared to older technologies, this AI-assisted method is way smarter and catches a lot more sneaky data leaks. And guess what they found? A whopping 67.6% of the apps were leaking sensitive information in their logs. Things like fine-grained location, which means exactly where you were standing. In fact, almost 77% of these leaks, the privacy policy never even mentioned that this specific type of data was being collected. Only a tiny 4% of the apps actually had a privacy policy that perfectly matched the data they were logging. It is honestly wild, right? It means that there is a massive gap between what developers promise and what their apps actually do. So, how does this apply to our everyday life? Well, it means that when we download an app, our personal data might be secretly hanging out in files that get sent to developers or third-party servers. This could lead to our privacy being compromised without us having any clue, which shows that we cannot always just trust the privacy policy to give us the full truth. Now, let me give you at least 3 specific application examples based on the content of this paper. First, this research could be used to build Aussie automated privacy compliance tools for software. Right now, the coding team and legal team at an app company do not always talk to each other. The loggers make the logs, and the lawyers write the policy. By using the AI-assisted scanning tech from this paper, companies could run a program before they release an app. This program would automatically check the app logs, spot any sensitive data like emails or locations, and warn the developers. Then, they could either delete the sensitive data from the logs or update their privacy policy, so they do not break the law. Second, this concept could completely change the App Store review process. Imagine if the Google Play Store used this exact technology to scan apps before allowing them on the store. The App Store could automatically test the app, generate logs, and compare the logs to the submitted privacy policy. If the app is secretly logging your exact GPS location without putting it in the policy, the store could reject the update. Or they could put a big warning label on the download page. This would force developers to be honest and protect everyday users from sneaky tracking. Third, this research could lead to the creation of real-time user privacy dashboards right on our smartphones. Your Android phone can have a built-in security feature that constantly monitors app logs in the background. If an app suddenly writes your private email address or your home Wi-Fi name into a log file, your phone could pop up a friendly notification. You could say, "Hey, this calculator app is trying to log your location. Do you want to stop it?" This puts the power right back in the hands of the user, keeping our daily digital lives so much safer. It is just so important to hold these apps accountable. This study really highlights that there is a big accountability gap, even in super popular apps. The researchers suggested that developers need to treat logs just like any other sensitive database. They should use encryption, local filtering, and only keep the logs for a short time. Regulators might need to step up and make stricter rules about how logs are handled. I just find it so fascinating how much goes on inside our phones without us noticing. It definitely makes me want to be a little more careful about the apps I install. Well, that is all the time I have for today on this amazing topic. I hope you enjoyed learning about app logs and privacy policies with me. Thank you so much for tuning into my radio show. Stay safe out there in the digital world and have a beautiful, fantastic Wednesday. Bye-bye, everyone.